Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 7 Minutes in Evan. Today we are doing an actual 7-minute episode. Okay, we're doing it. All it has to do to be the 7-minute qualification is it just starts in the 7 minute. It can be anywhere. It's not going to be 7 on the dot. It could be a little bit after. I've already wasted too much time with the intro, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I'm an all-around human in Texas. Okay, I just lived through the freeze. That was wild. Okay, the freeze is interesting here in Texas. It was an experience. All right, here's the thing. Your boy was ready. All right, this is as I get older. Take a drink every time I say as I get older. I prepare. I like preparing. My life is a cosplay of life below zero, but it's nowhere near the harshness. But I get to have the fun of preparing. All right, and what's great is this was the first year I had a generator. All right, I felt good. A freeze is fun if you're just a single person. Okay, I remember going through a power outage in Puerto Rico with no. There was a hurricane. I lived through a hurricane in Puerto Rico. It was nuts. And you know what the coolest part of that whole thing was? Is that little critters and creatures and frogs and geckos were when they came into my place I was living. It wasn't an apartment. It was like, was maybe a floor level condo? It was just a 1 bedroom house villa thing. The houses are different in Puerto Rico. It's interesting because they have, like, in Puerto Rico, the houses are made out of concrete because of hurricanes and the weather and everything. And I think it just does better there. But this place I lived, it seemed like they took a house and then they just like put concrete on what used to be doors, because you go into certain parts and then you just go, okay, well, feels like this used to be a wall through. And I lived in this place and I survived a hurricane. I remember going out there just to look. I couldn't have walked. Like, that's how intense it was at certain points. But I would just go out and like look and just see it, just things whipping. I remember a car moving, just that was crazy. But I lived through a hurricane. But I was also in college, dude. I lost the power for a while. But I had I watched on my laptop for hours, even without the power, which was dumb. In hindsight, I should have saved anything. I watched Lost. I remember watching that during the hurricane. That was fun. But I had all these little creatures. And it was great. I remember I just got some groceries and I was in there for a couple days. I was fine. But now when you have a family and the idea of a freezing power outage, you go, well, it's not just me. Now I have to stock up. I got 12 gallons of water stored. I have a generator. I have enough propane tanks to last. I think I mapped it out. I have like 4 days of propane just for the generator. I have a space I could have maintained. And it's fun in a different way. Because I go, oh, I got to prepare. And then you start going, well, now I basically have to turn this into Fort Lopez is what I got to do. Because I go, well, I also have to be ready for invaders. If someone breaks in and you're a single person living alone, good old fashioned John Wick fight, perhaps you just go out through a window. You go, boop, not here. Take whatever. I have insurance, or I have renter's insurance, $7. That's the other thing. This is why there's certain companies I won't support. I think it was like Lemonade. It was like home insurance or something. This was another crazy thing. I've lived through quite a few different, the Captain Planet of natural disasters. I am him. I've lived through it. I'm him. For real. I lived through the fires in Ventura where we were watching the winds. That was also another very spooky thing. We were, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, my woman, my rib, my sugar feet. Anyway, we moved to Ventura together, and it was the weekend we moved in was insane, the winds in California, and then wildfires. You think, oh, I can run away from a fire. A fire. You think about a fire in a fireplace. No, this is more like hellfire. Like, I remember we were like, well, we should go and get gas because we have low fuel just to be prepared. There was palm trees flying around. The winds were like 50 miles per hour. And you can just see the fire on the mountain just moving so fast where you get how people can get caught in it. But I was worried about it, and I was like, shit, what if we go there and all of our stuff? And I was like, well, we just moved in. Let's get renter's insurance. And the renter's insurance, the app, it denied us to get even just like whatever the cheapest we could get because it said, it seems like your location is currently in a natural disaster. So unfortunately, check back in a month. So they refused. They were like, oh, you might actually need our help. So we're not gonna allow this. Okay. So I'll never use lemonade. I believe it was. Okay. Whatever happened to you're in a tough situation, make lemonade. They were like, you're in a tough situation, die. That should be your slogan. Anyway, I started this, not with this idea. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. We survived it. It got cold. And the thing about Texas, there's other states with, things going on. But the thing about Texas is that there's not a lot of salt. I think when the whole there is a bit of PTSD in Texas from 2021 when the power went out and, people sadly passed away. There's not prepared for that kind of weather. There was only like one salt truck in Austin, which is just crazy. And then they were doing wind turbines for the energy. That's another weird thing about Texas is the wind turbines. They were experimenting with half of the power provided to the grid being from wind turbines, which wasn't like a big thing. But ladies and gentlemen, we made it. We're going to experiment. We're going to do a couple weeks of these 7-minute episodes. And I think I'm going to just do one topic and we're just going to drop them where we talk about one thing and then we're out. Boop, one thing, we're out. Maybe we'll sprinkle them out and you give me the feedback. If you don't like it, you let me know. But ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys. If you haven't seen me do stand-up comedy, come to the East Austin Comedy Show Daywalkers every Friday, 6 p.m. Your boy runs it. Saturday Speakeasy on Congress. And just all over. All right. I love you guys. I'm going to be trying to tour and do some shit on the road. If you have a connection to a city near you, let your boy know. I love you guys. Mwah.